I'm figuring out a lot of stuff with the trauma work I'm doing on my own. um, I had a really big moment just now on the swings, and I'm hoping to be able to share it before it's gone. Most of these types of realizations, or whatever you want to call them, they're like a dream, and they feel like that in the sense that I can remember feeling the feeling of having them, but I can't remember what they were once I wake up, once I open my eyes. So swinging and listening to a fairly sad type song that I used to listen to a few years ago a lot, like on repeat, and for months and a couple years, I think. And it helped trigger some memories, I think, or invite people to feel feelings or something. I don't know. I've always been drawn to parks and swings, and now I know why. It's because it's the one thing that was there when things started getting tough. I started having the nightmares and night terrors, like, awful insomnia, getting about 2 hours of sleep a night, nightmares so bad that I'd wake up just drenched in sweat, and this was starting at, I think, around age 10, 9, 10, around there. And when things got worse when I was 14, the swing set was there. When I started drinking, I would drink on the swing set and look at the stars. And that was just so I could sleep without hearing voices and having nightmares. And through a lot of the time of being disabled, I've spent a lot of time at parks, and just being around like families or kids, and being able to swing or play or whatever it is, was very helpful. And so swings have always been there, and it's been that moment where we can just kind of tune out the world and feel free, and be sitting but also physically moving, and be, yeah, just feel the wind in our hair and look up at the sky. And I don't know, it's just always been a nice, not even an escape, but a coping tool. Because I'm not escaping what I'm feeling, I'm just coping with it better. And so I'm here on the swing, and I could feel the me from age 14, 15. Monica and Kingsley were dominant at that time. They were the host at that time. I could feel their presence, and feel the memories of swinging when I was them at certain places in the past. And then it kind of just it kept going younger, and I could feel myself swinging when I was, a year younger, and whatnot. And then it got down to, I don't know how old. I was imagining the swing set that we got when I was 9, so that's kind of my guess. But and it's all, fading now like I thought it would, but I feel like there was someone younger there, and it led me to thinking about stuff. I started writing like stories and stuff when I was like 6, 7 years old. And then when I was 11, I started writing music. I remembered that when I reread, like, recently, like a few weeks ago, when I reread songs, all of my songs were about God, and they're like religious type songs. And so either that was the only thing I thought about, and that was what my entire world in reality revolved around, like not just 90%, but 110% kind of thing. Or something had happened to lead me to feel that I was not allowed to or supposed to write about anything except for God. And the thought came to mind, and I can't say specifically, what altar this is from or what age this memory is from or, anything as specific as that just yet. But for now, I recall that, the thought process of, if Jesus died on the cross, if I'm this condemned sinner, if Jesus told me to pick up my cross like he did, if people out there have it worse, then my problems are completely irrelevant, not even worth acknowledging. And so, whatever pain I might have experienced as a young child, I've been invalidating and suppressing that. Like, I thought that started in high school, but that started when I was like young, single digit age. And so that's very interesting. And that moment of realization, I felt like I was in a hypnotized state. Like I wasn't in full control of anything, yet I was more aware of my parts than I ever really have been. It's almost like all of us were inside and the body was just kind of on pause. And so we just kind of slumped over and kept swinging, like my hands could grip the thing, but I wasn't like pumping my legs or sitting up straight or anything. It was just a very trippy experience, and doing all this trauma work on my own. And when I say trauma work, it's facing what's going on, it's facing and addressing decades of traumatic pain. And to address one trauma is a lot, but to address 2 decades of complex trauma by myself, it's intense to say the least. And if you don't have much understanding of trauma, feel free to check out some of my other videos. They have a little bit of insight into trauma and the effects of trauma and trauma treatment and stuff like that. And so, doing all this work on my own, it's been intense. But when I have these sort of breakthroughs, it's it's a really beautiful thing, and it's very encouraging and very empowering. And there are these very, very there are these very, very brief moments where I really believe I'm gonna be okay, and that I can figure this out without doctors and without all the shenanigans of, you know, putting people in boxes and restricting their descriptions and diagnoses with labels. And, it's that approach just doesn't work, and mine does. And as long as I continue having the support and resources that I need to get by with the basics, I'm going to keep making progress like this. And I really believe that I can get to a place where I can live a really beautiful life and I can be stable, and I won't hold a normal job. But that's okay, because I'm called for more. I'm meant for more. And when I have these moments where I can actually remember my life and who I am, which doesn't happen very often, that's something sane people take for granted. When I can remember my life and who I am, I really love who I am and my entire life story, because it's crazy and beautiful and epic and marvelous and spectacular and something worth making a movie about. And most people can hold a job, but they can't say that they have an epic life. And the grass is always greener, but I'm gonna stop looking at the grass in other people's yards and just focus on watering my own lawn for now. So that's a little bit of today's therapy work and the Kristen Chronicles journey.